The incident commenced with a towel, a hapless wet white one, inconsequential as it may seem. Yet it carried immense weight. Upon my return from a quick 2-day conference in Phoenix, I found it discarded on the floor next to our bed instead of hanging in the bathroom or thrown into the laundry basket as usual. It was damp, still warm, and I chose to remain silent about it that night while she indulged in Instagram scrolling, her smile mirrored in the screen's glow. She didn't even bother to ask how my trip went. A casual, "Hey babe," and a return to the cool light of her feed on social media. It was then that the first hint of discord resonated. Jessica and I had been together for close to a decade, not the type to quarrel publicly or flaunt our milestones with Blessed, but our bond felt unshakable. Or so I believed. She had this spark in her, after all. The magnetic aura that caused silence when she entered a room. You adored or detested her within 5 minutes. No neutral ground. And me? I was the fellow who carried her charger in my pack, stored her snacks in my vehicle, learned her coffee order to surprise her on Tuesdays. I didn't require loudness. I just needed to be the one she returned to. However, a change had occurred. Her embraces grew briefer, her voice altered subtly. It seemed as if she was suppressing a laugh that wasn't mine. One Thursday evening, she informed me about a dinner meeting with clients. Nothing unusual, except her tone felt practiced. She even halted mid-sentence, seeming to anticipate my challenge. I refrained, not immediately. Instead, I waited in the car 2 blocks from the Italian restaurant she specified, observing as a black Audi dropped her off at 7:42 p.m., wearing a dress I hadn't seen in half a year, the type of attire she once wore on our anniversary. Dear friends, if you enjoy this story, please like and subscribe to our channel. It will motivate us to make more videos like this for you. She chuckled while shutting the passenger door. Then she tapped the driver's arm. He reciprocated by touching her lower back. They bypassed the restaurant and turned the corner towards the Marriott on 9th. I chose not to trail them. I was already aware of the situation. The following morning, I prepared her coffee exactly as she preferred. Vanilla oat milk, 2 sugars, a hint of cinnamon. I observed her sip it in her robe, her hair still damp from a shower, her phone on mute by her side. She smiled and said, "You're so thoughtful, dear." For the first time in our marriage, I contemplated shattering the mug in my hand and departing permanently. However, I remained. Since she was unaware of my knowledge, this would be my leverage. That Saturday, she claimed she was visiting her sister's house in Edgewater for brunch. Just the girls, she said, feigning affection by kissing me on the cheek as if we were still a unit. She even made a spectacle of donning flats, an attire she rarely wore unless she wanted to give the impression that she had no intention of impressing others. I responded with a nod. I observed her sling a tote bag onto her shoulder and glide out the door as if ignorant of the imminent collapse of her surroundings. This time, I didn't pursue her. Instead, I dispatched someone else, Tyler. He's our security personnel, robust, vigilant, reticent. In a past instance, I facilitated his wife's employment after she was dismissed. He was indebted to me and accepted the task without query. Parked discreetly 2 vehicles from her sister's residence, he sent me real-time updates. 10:43 a.m. She's absent. 11:06 a.m. An Audi arrived. She entered. 11:12 a.m. They're bound for the city center. I remained indoors, restlessly patrolling the living room like a trapped beast. My hands quivered not from terror but from an unfamiliar sensation, a churning, scalding emotion I had never experienced before. Betrayal has a taste, harsh, metallic, sour, and it lingers in your mouth. It cannot be expelled. You relish it for days. At 12:41 p.m., Tyler transmitted the image to me. Jess, clad in green, leaning across a table, laughing, caressing his arm again. Not the same man from the hotel. A different man. She seemed to have a preference, apparently. Tall, neatly trimmed beard, Rolex watch. A kind of man who sent your needed messages from a plush chair in a wine lounge. I spent a considerable amount of time examining the image. Not out of shock, but because of her expression. She appeared joyful, not false or networking joy. It wasn't that expression she had shown me in over a year. I used to believe it was stress, deadlines, hormones, but now I understood. That radiance? That wasn't work. That wasn't yoga. That wasn't some personal quest of self-care. It was deception, and she excelled at it. When she arrived home that evening, she brought me a cupcake. Red velvet, my favorite. Her sister supposedly had leftovers from a bridal tasting. I accepted it, expressed gratitude, discussed a documentary on sharks with her. She laughed, saying it was typical of me. But in that instant, something changed. Because I realized she still thought I was the same Mark, still predictable, still slow, still oblivious. However, I had moved on from that point. The scheme was already set in motion. I visited the guest room printer and retrieved the envelope. It had heavy stock paper, no sender's address, and was securely sealed. She hadn't laid eyes on it yet, but she soon would, as Monday was her company's summer appreciation day. This involved speeches, prizes, a catered lunch. Her name was included in the guest list, along with the delivery. The package, swathed in red, was set to arrive at 1:15 p.m. sharp. The delivery didn't make a noise upon arrival, but rather a quiet rustle. The destination was Jess's office on the 10th floor of the South Wing PR and Communications Department. With its expansive glass walls, open-plan desks, and bright whites with polished smiles everywhere, I had planned the delivery logistics a week beforehand. I arranged for it to be sent via private courier, with instructions for direct delivery to Mrs. Jessica Campbell. A signature was required upon receipt, with no exceptions. At 12 p.m., the courier confirmed his arrival. At 1:15 p.m., Jess signed for the package. At 1:16 p.m., the spark ignited. Although I wasn't physically present, it felt like I was there. One of her colleagues filmed part of the moment, which I later saw anonymously sent to me. It's typical for an office environment. Once someone finds something suspicious, everyone turns into a detective. She revealed the contents of her desk box. Those nearby continued their lunch breaks, drinking carbonated water and reviewing emails. The top was lifted off. She dived in. First were the hotel bills, clear, high quality, bound together, from 3 distinct hotels, on 3 separate dates, all paid for with her personal credit card. Even the photographs. Tyler had exceeded expectations, to be honest. One depicted her holding hands with the Audi man. Another, my favorite, was from the Marriott corridor where she'd stopped to comb her hair in the reflection of a vending machine before swiping her keycard. She appeared self-satisfied. As if ready to claim victory in a game she believed she was the only one playing. At the box's bottom, I had placed the disposable phone. A single click activated the gallery, displaying screenshots of texts, some flirtatious, some explicit, all time-stamped, and an audio video of her laughing on a call. I find it hard to believe he remains unaware. He resembles a golden retriever, faithful, dim-witted, and always joyful at my presence. There's something slightly pitiful about it. Her voice, as clear as crystal, sounded smug and cruel. The recording concluded with her stating, "If he ever discovers this, I'll pretend to cry, attribute it to hormones, and divert him with cupcakes." It seems she forgot I have a minimal fondness for red velvet. The video terminated just as someone, likely her supervisor, appeared over her desk and inquired, "Jess, are you all right?" From the information I gathered later, she didn't respond. She merely gazed into the box, as if it was a bomb that hadn't exploded yet. Then she stood up, quietly, shaking, eyes darting as if searching for who else was in on it, who had witnessed it. Then she screamed, not loudly, not angrily, just a raw, sharp sound that sent chills down the entire floor. By 1:30 p.m. she was nowhere to be found. 2 p.m. brought a voicemail from her, her voice soft, as if she'd just discovered the world wasn't solid. It was reflective. She admitted, "Mark, I can't explain what happened, but please call me back." I chose not to. Instead, I was securing the locks. The knock came at 8:46 p.m. 3 distinct raps, no bell or text, just an unannounced visit from Jessica on the porch, still in her work blazer, mascara streaked, hair pulled back haphazardly. Through the peephole, I saw her clutching her phone in a red box like a confusing gift, her nails bitten to stubs, a habit she'd abandoned since college. She knocked once more, insistently. "Mark," she called out, "I know you're home." Opening the door slowly, deliberately, I remained silent, merely standing there. Her gaze swept over my face, seeking gentleness, but finding none. "May I enter?" she inquired. Negative response. Surprise flashed in her eyes, the kind people display when their well-rehearsed dialogue falters. "Mark, what just transpired leaves me puzzled. The sender remains unidentified. However, this—" she shook a box. "This isn't the entire truth. You're exaggerating excessively." I folded my arms. "Which aspect are you overplaying? The hotel accommodations, the recording, the bit about being a golden retriever?" That remark struck a nerve. Her lips parted, but no words emerged. Then she did what I anticipated, shifted the blame onto me. You invaded my privacy by going through my phone? You spied on me? Such behavior is repugnant, Mark. That's an intrusion. I chuckled softly, enough to make her jump. In truth, I didn't delve into your phone. I uncovered your deceit. This was the initial fracture. The facade began to crumble. Her tone grew more shrill. You had someone trail me? You weren't concealed at all. Good heavens, Mark. You've been scheming? Nurturing this? Incredulous. What sort of psycho are you accusing me of being? I retorted, calm but firm. Don't misconstrue this. You weren't pursued. You were observed. You flaunted your treachery like a prize. You jeered at me within my own home. She recoiled as if struck, yet her countenance swiftly hardened. That's Jess, ever adaptable, ever resilient. So now what? She snarled. You embarrass me at work, alter the locks like a scorned lover, and what then? You think you've gained power? I countered. No, I replied. I feel alert. That silenced her. I retrieved a manila envelope from behind the door and handed it to her, containing within it a copy of our house deed, notarized separation documents I had drafted that week, and the keys to her car. I want you gone, I said decisively. Completely, legally, emotionally. I've never been more resolute. She stood there, stunned, holding the box and envelope as if they were pieces of a reality she hadn't foreseen colliding. Then came her retort. You'll regret this, she warned. You believe others will tolerate your monotonous habits and quiet demeanor? Your uninteresting existence? I acted dishonestly since I had no other choice. You're an emptiness, Mark. You drain the vitality from people, I acknowledged. Then I merely performed a service for you. I shut the door on her. Beyond, there was nothing. No sobs, no appeals. Only quietness. She disappeared by dawn. The first blemish emerged through my mother, on a Sunday morning, coffee in hand, rain pattering against the kitchen window. I was beginning to breathe like a man rescued from a burning building. And then the phone rang. Mark, Mom's voice was cautious. I remained silent, just gazed at the vapor rising from the mug. She's quite distressed. She claims there's been a massive misunderstanding, that you've done something rash. There it was, the spin. Jessica, the PR queen, couldn't resist herself. She didn't fall apart. She rebranded. She claimed I had a mental breakdown, became suspicious, and illegally intruded into her personal life. She told my mother that I had caused a scene in her workplace and breached her privacy in ways she hadn't anticipated. She didn't bring up the extramarital affairs or the receipts, nor did she mention calling me a golden retriever to another man while repairing her porch light. I asked Mom one question. Did she tell you why I evicted her? After a moment of quiet, she responded softly, No. I told her I'd send an email with the evidence so she could make her own decision. I remained calm, didn't raise my voice or curse. I simply sent a PDF. Let the truth be revealed. However, Jess didn't stop there. She contacted my best friend. She told Ryan that I was in distress, that she was concerned about me. She said she still cared for me, but didn't know how to assist me any longer. She labeled it as emotional exhaustion. What a euphemism. To his credit, Ryan didn't believe her. He arrived at my place with 2 six-packs and a laptop. Did you want assistance in deleting her social media accounts? We declined. Revenge wasn't my goal. I sought clarity. That night, I finally decided to explore the secret folder I'd hidden for weeks. It contained screenshots, hotel reservations, and a video file. I named it truth.exe and stored it in a private Google Drive as a precaution. Jess had initiated the game, but I was constructing the stage. Then came an unexpected twist. An email, anonymous, with no subject line. It contained a single sentence. She's done this before. Attached was an old conversation thread. No subject line. Messages from 4 years ago. A different man, a different city, but the same pattern of deceit and false promises. She hadn't just cheated on me. I was part of a cycle, a list, a sequence of men who believed they were unique. And just like that, my heartbreak transformed. From sorrow to revulsion, as I realized I had spent the entire night pursuing illusions. The anonymous email wasn't from a burner account. It originated from an old Gmail account under the name Malloway84. In under 5 minutes, I found and connected Matthew Holloway's recovery information, a freelance graphic designer from Austin, Texas. On LinkedIn, his portfolio and a photo from a 2019 wine festival revealed Jessica, smiling beside him. She was wearing the white sundress she mentioned losing during her summer getaway with friends. I gazed at that picture for an hour, not due to surprise, but realization of her proficiency. This wasn't hasty infidelity or a faltering marriage. It was a pattern. I contacted Matthew, sending a brief direct message. She deceived me too. Fancy a chat? He responded promptly within 10 minutes. We talked via Zoom for 2 hours, cameras off, voices soft and worn in that wounded tone. He disclosed they met in Chicago at a PR conference. Jessica presented herself as single, stated she was between relationships, and dated long distance for a year. 5 times she visited Austin, expressing her dislike for the cold, discussed cohabitation, even scouted condos together. Suddenly vanished one night, without a word, blocked his number completely disappeared from his life. 3 months later, he spotted her in a Facebook album celebrating Jessica and Mark's 5th anniversary. Seemed unscathed by the incident, wearing the necklace he had given her. Deceived so effortlessly, he remarked. It was as if she was playing a role. The chilling part? I think she truly believed it herself. Informed him about the hotel receipts, the box of red roses, and the voicemail. He let out a low whistle. You managed to get more than I did. I never even received a goodbye. We agreed on one point before we ended the call. Jess didn't love people, she collected them. Each man was like a mirror she admired herself in, until it shattered. Then she found another one. After we disconnected, he remained alone in the dark. The room's atmosphere was thick with unspoken lies she had told, as if they were still suspended there. I surveyed our house, the artwork she selected, the sofa she insisted upon, the rug from the Charleston trip when tears fell after I expressed not being ready for children yet. Each item of our home felt like a trophy for her, a testament to manipulation. Thus, I began packing, not hers, but mine. Let her keep the space. Let her account for the empty closet to her friends. Let her tread the emptiness that echoed our former selves. I wasn't fleeing. I was evacuating. The inferno hadn't ignited fully yet. At precisely 2:14 p.m. on a Wednesday, an unknown number sent a message. I apologize for reaching out in this manner. Are you Jessica's husband? Ava. No last name, no introduction. After staring at the message for a full minute, I responded, not anymore. 3 dots followed, then a detailed self-introduction from Ava Torres, age 28, residing in Baltimore. She encountered Jessica indirectly through mutual acquaintances. The details were hazy, but what stood clear was her involvement with a man named Reed. A man, it turned out, who had been presented to her by none other than Jessica, for she discovered that Reed was one of the men whom Jessica had been romantically involved with, and there was Ava, also in a relationship with him. Unaware, she asserted, I swear. The reason for my message is not casual. It's because I feel ill about it. But I thought you needed to see this. Accompanying the text were screenshots, conversations between Jessica and Reed. You've expressed your annoyance with her before. You said I was unique. I consider myself superior to that pathetic girl you pretend to have a relationship with. Beneath these words, a message that made my heart stop. He has no idea. And when he finds out, I'll just react as I usually do. Cry, accuse, and bake something. That's the kind of person she is. That's who she's always been. I disclosed the truth to Ava, but it was out of vengeance, out of a need for understanding. She deserves to understand that she isn't the only victim in this mess. Ava took an unanticipated action. She confronted Jessica directly at her yoga studio. The ensuing event was posted online. It seems Ava waited for Jess outside the studio, encountered her on the sidewalk in front of 2 instructors and a dog walker. There was no shouting or fighting. Instead, Ava held her phone aloud, reading out messages. Jessica, with a frozen expression and arms crossed defensively, appeared unable to evade the situation. Bystanders reported that Ava placed the phone at Jess's feet, saying, "You're not misunderstood. You're just toxic." Jess remained silent and walked away. However, the impact was palpable. The video later surfaced on a local gossip Instagram account as "when you catch the spider in its own web." The comments flooded in, and the sphere she once controlled through charm and charisma began to contract. She contacted me that night without leaving a message, followed by a text. Do you think this will shatter me? You believe yourself to be some sort of hero, Mark? You're pitiful, Jessica. I've made you significant. Without me, you hold no substance. I received no response from you. However, I did capture a screenshot. It didn't take long before whispers turned into emails, and those emails morphed into meetings. Her company, the sophisticated boutique PR firm she once boasted, was founded on trust and taste, suspended her indefinitely. The HR correspondence was chilly. Under investigation for inappropriate behavior involving clients and colleagues, we are asking you to relinquish all public responsibilities. Essentially, you've tarnished our reputation, Jessica. Now, you pose a risk. She attempted to downplay the situation, of course. On her social media, she posted a vague tale about taking a break to focus on mental health. A looped video of a cappuccino and a book on personal renewal were included. Yet her audience was unconvinced. Someone dropped the office delivery story in the comments section. No names mentioned, merely the narrative. Yet it contained enough detail for people to comprehend the situation. One individual commented, "Is this the same Jessica who had the red box incident at Capstone PR?" The term red box incident caught on. It gained popularity locally. It became workplace jargon. However, I had already relocated. A smaller apartment now, nothing luxurious. White walls, tranquil neighborhood setting, but she wasn't finished yet. Far from it. She appeared at my new residence, somehow found the address, knocked as if she lived there. Upon opening the door, she was crying, this time with real tears, or at least more convincing ones. I remained silent. She sobbed, wiped her eyes, stepped closer. I made a mistake, right? I understand that. But you didn't have to ruin me. She reached into her handbag and produced a document. I assumed it was an apology letter. Instead, it was a request for a character reference. She wanted me to endorse her conduct as a partner for court proceedings. It seemed one of the men she had crossed paths with, Reed, was threatening legal action, damages, false accusations, professional harassment. She was facing a lawsuit and asked for my aid. I examined the legal document, then looked at her. "You require my assistance," she stated, voice quivering. "As you've always said, I'm a part of you." I denied her plea. "You are the piece I've already discarded." And I closed the door once more. However, this time she didn't depart calmly. Through the peephole, I observed her crumble onto the welcome mat. It wasn't dramatic or movie-like. She merely fell. Sitting there in silence, she showed no emotion. Neither sympathy nor compassion surfaced within me, not even anger, just coldness. I watched her remain seated for 15 minutes before she finally stood up. She smoothed out her jacket and left. No further knocks were heard. But the conflict wasn't resolved, because what she did next was inexcusable. Yet I should have anticipated it. Jessica never departed a room without igniting something behind her. This revelation came from an unexpected source, my cousin Lucas, who had grown up alongside me like brothers. He assisted me during my move from the house. Spent the night after her work delivery drinking with him. He assured he would stand by me. Yet he failed. One evening, Ryan phoned me without preamble. "Check Lucas's Instagram story immediately." I complied, and there it was, a brief video of Jess at a rooftop bar, sipping white wine, laughing. The caption read, "People make mistakes. Some people escalate them to atrocities. Here's to learning and growing clinking glasses." Tagged Reese Lucas Winslow. Seeing her with Lucas, smiling and seemingly close, made my blood run cold. I called him, only to find his voicemail. Texted, "Is this real?" No response. The following day, he contacted me. "It's not as it seems." Jess approached me, saying she needed someone to confide in. Initially, I believed I could act impartially, be fair. But when he knew the harm she inflicted upon me, watched my distress, and heard my tears, I decided against responding to her. Despite everything, there he was, chuckling on a rooftop, sharing drinks with the woman who ignited my life's blaze. That night, I didn't rest, because I understood something chilling. Jess wasn't attempting to mend anything. She wasn't striving for peace. Instead, she was reconstructing, utilizing my connections, my bloodline, manipulating the people who were meant to be my refuge. Eventually, someone informed me that she had begun contacting other friends cautiously, subtly, portraying herself as a wronged spouse, depicting me as detached, vengeful, unstable. Someone told me they heard her cry during a phone call and say, "Mark simply shut down, like he didn't love me at all." Classic Jess. Light the house ablaze, then weep because it's cold. I severed ties with Lucas completely. No message, no explanation, just silence. And that's when I started noticing other occurrences. People ignoring me, unanswered DMs, friends who used to reach out, disappeared. She was contaminating the well, quietly, softly, skillfully. If Jessica is skilled at shaping stories, it was her turn to be outmaneuvered, for I had already crafted mine. Her tale of redemption was on the verge of crumbling in a public arena. Her undoing started within a comment section, not in a courtroom, not during a dramatic showdown, not with a loud indictment. Instead, beneath a filtered beach photo she posted, captioned as "Healing isn't linear, grateful for the lessons, even the hard ones." The comments ranged from enablers and vague empathy to encouragement. However, an anonymous account without a profile picture intervened. Your healing includes deceiving 3 different men, cheating on your spouse while feigning victimhood. Let's not forget the staged tears in yoga class. Initially, no one responded. Then 2 likes appeared. After that, 20. Finally, the dam burst open. More anonymous accounts emerged, screenshots were shared, and users were tagged. Tasha publicly labeled Jess as a deceitful public relations professional, allegedly falsely accusing her of a failed pitch campaign while secretly having an affair with the client. A former intern revealed, she told me once, "The truth is flexible, but perception isn't." This statement echoed in various circles, particularly in niche groups, as an infamous audio clip about a golden retriever and a smiling video of her during a panel discussion on ethics in branding went viral. In just a week, Jess's professional reputation was not merely damaged, but utterly destroyed. Capstone PR formally dismissed her. Their statement read, "We uphold accountability, transparency, and maintain standards that reflect the trust our clients place in us." Although no direct mention of her name, everyone was aware. She removed her website, disabled comments, switched her Instagram to private. A few days later, the house, previously shared between them, was listed at a reduced price, its staging photos devoid of any traces of them, leading to her ultimate downfall. She contacted her close friend Ryan, spoke with him at work, and left a message expressing her desire to comprehend why things had taken a turn for the worse. She was accustomed to receiving explanations for her own missteps instead of acknowledging them. Ryan responded by stating she was well aware of her actions, and no one was buying her act any longer. After this, he ended the call. Leaving no support from friends, lovers, or professionally, she found herself in the wreckage of her own doing. She attempted to destroy my world, but her actions left her standing in the rubble. However, I wasn't done, as there was still one thing she didn't know: a final disclosure. This last piece of information was timed carefully, not driven by revenge, but by strategy. Jess had been playing a short game, employing deceit for immediate gain, using her charm to get through the day and tears to stir emotion. In contrast, I learned. She defended herself. I delivered checkmate. The final disclosure surfaced on a podcast. Months ago, in the heat of the situation, when the texts were being revealed and her office delivery box was still emitting smoke, I received an approach from a podcast producer from a moderate-level relationship advice show. They were working on a series about betrayal and deceit, seeking anonymous stories. I agreed, recounted my experiences candidly without anger or theatrics, just dates, actions, and proof. They altered my voice, changed the names, but left the facts unaltered. The episode was released last week, titled The Red Box Delivery. Within 48 hours, it climbed to 3rd place in Spotify's trending list. Listeners quickly pieced together the puzzle: the PR queen, the audio clip, the golden retriever reference, all pointing to Jess. She couldn't deny it anymore, as it was indeed her. She contacted me once more. "You embarrassed me. You made me a meme. You wouldn't let go. Couldn't you?" I chose not to respond at first, but after rereading the message a few times, I responded with 4 words. "Jess, no repeat performances." She saw it, remained silent since there was nothing further to add. She manipulated folks like mirrors, but this time I allowed her to witness a reflection she couldn't alter. She considered me a minor player in her disordered, romanticized narrative. However, I was the author, and I've concluded the storyline. It's been half a year now. No headlines, no developments, no more twists, just tranquility. I've moved homes twice since then. The second residence feels suitable, minimalistic, crisp lines, good lighting. No echoes of the past embedded in the structure. I no longer jolt at the sound of alerts. I rest, I respire, and her name doesn't dominate my thoughts daily, only occasionally. Not as you might expect, not with resentment, not even hurt, merely an observational recollection, like a memory of a storm you once navigated through, windshield wipers swiping against the rain, gripping tightly onto the wheel. But now the weather has cleared and I continue my journey. I never replied to her last message again. Never exchanged words with Lucas, didn't bother verifying if she faced a lawsuit. The final act was unnecessary, for the void left by someone like her serves as the epilogue. Encountered her once, at a grocery store, without fanfare or outbursts. She was in the frozen foods section, contemplating a bag of cauliflower rice, unaware of my presence initially. Upon recognition, our eyes met, but there was no act, no tears, no coercion, only an emptiness. She remained silent, as did I. She turned away first, departed like a stranger, and that's all we are now. People often inquire if I'll ever trust again, if I'll let anyone get near. I tell them this: I'm not fearful of love. I'm apprehensive about loving someone who dons it as a mask. What I discerned, one can't rescue someone from their essence. One can only protect oneself from being pulled under by them. Therefore, this is my last post. No more narratives, no more fragments of her. She no longer resides here. To those reading this, she is absent now, despite being enveloped in bewilderment, questioning, doubting, harboring unspoken pain. You are aware. Proof is superfluous. What you require is tranquility. Walk, even if your legs tremble, your voice falters, or you still harbor affection for them. Walk, you'll endure. And one day, in a grocery store, you'll recognize that you no longer startle. Note the change.